It is mind-blowing.
And heartbreaking.
How many original scripts are written every year but are never made?
So we seek out these scripts and bring them to life with full audio production and professional actors.
Check us out at Undiscovered Scripts.
Movies made of paper.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
Free!
Matthew, today we're talking about I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead. According to the Wikipedia page, this is a rejection of the stereotypical attitudes and accoutrements to the hippie, yuppie lifestyle. This is a really interesting one because as we've been talking about this album, the thing that we've brought up time and time and time again is how much this album is anti-everything.
Yes.
And this is like the definition of anti-everything, but the irony is that some of the things he's anti in this song are things that he is very much in support of much later in his life.
Oh, yeah. Oh, big time. So, I mean, I'm going to just from the top, I'm going to say, to me, this is this album's masterpiece.
Okay.
If there's anything on this record for me that feels like Al's potential really shining through and you're starting to see his ability as a writer and as a satirist, I guess, it's all here. Like the composition of this song is great. It's so catchy. This is the catchiest, hookiest song on this record by far. And that arguably includes the parodies. This is so hooky.
So this was the exact note that I wrote after I watched it. The song has a fantastic musical accompaniment.
Yeah.
Lyrically, I think I may have been born before I totally get who he's trying to make fun of.
Yeah.
But the chorus is catchy as hell.
The chorus of this song is so infectious.
It really gets in there. And I agree with you. You called out him as a songwriter. And we talked about in an earlier episode that whole concept of sparks, that like people won't take someone funny seriously.
Yeah.
And there's a line in this song that jumped out at me that is the perfect example of like when you can be really funny and still say something that you can almost like write a lyric that you kind of attach yourself to. And that happens in the song for me, where he says, I don't need a course in self-awareness to find out who I am.
Yeah.
I love that line.
So good.
Like, genuinely, it's like, that's not a laugh out loud funny line. That's just a good lyric in a song.
There are great lyrics. There's also, oh my God, I might talk about this song a lot. I'm just putting it out there right now.
No, that's fine. Let's do this.
The lyrics of this song are really interesting because the rhyme structure is very strange. It doesn't rhyme in a traditional sense, which makes it feel all the more like everything he's saying in this song is like he's really getting stuff off his chest. It feels very genuine. The other line that I love very early on is I won't swim in your jacuzzi, you can't make me settle down. I'd rather kick and jump and bite and scratch and scream until I'm blue.
Yeah.
Like this is some real angst coming out of this guy and frustration, and like there are real moments throughout his catalog where you get a sense of like some real emotion coming from him in these songs despite the comedic sort of lens that we see it all through. But man, there's some real like this is a I don't know, when I hear this song I hear passion. And it is funny that, as you pointed out, it's got like anti-vegetarian
yeah,
lyrics
like
in it.
He's like a vegan now.
Oh,
like,
yeah. No, he really shifted. And, we were talking about how when he did the Vanity Tour, he did not do this song. I thought that this would be a no-brainer as one to play live after all these years. And I can only assume a large part of it is that these lyrics just do not ring true to him at all anymore. Yeah. And so why he like the idea of singing this stuff now probably feels very cringy to him.
Yeah. So here was the game I put together.
Okay.
Is I compiled a list of everything he says he hates in this song. And I want to know where your stance is on them.
Great. I love it. Let's do it.
So the first thing he calls out is that he doesn't care about karma.
I am inclined to agree. I'm not much of a believer in karma in terms of as a concept.
I like to imagine that karma will get people that I dislike in the end, even though more often than not, history has proven to me that it will not happen.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about what's hip.
I guess, I mean, sure, I can get behind not caring what's hip. That's fair.
I feel like I've been starting to care a little bit more about what's good.
I like to keep up with what's hip because I find it
Yeah.
interesting. Just as people, I mean, you and I are both just fans of pop culture. So in
Yeah,
order
so
to
you
know
wanna know.
what's hip, you have to know. Yeah, in order to do that, you have to know what's hip at any given time.
Look,
But
I
to
watch
not-
the Oscars and the Super Bowl, whether I care about the teams or care about the
Yeah,
movies that are nominated,
that's
because
fair.
I want to make sure that I don't miss giant pop culture moments as they happen in real time.
Sure. Yeah.
So I would say I do care about what's hip. In
Sure,
that
that's fair.
case
Yeah,
for
there
me.
you go.
I mean, here's a big one that I still care about: swimming in a jacuzzi. I like being in a jacuzzi.
What is
personally.
not to like about a jacuzzi? That's a weird thing to get mad at. I
to
mean, you
get
don't-
as mad as he does, where
he's really upset about the jacuzzis. I mean, you don't have to own one if you're worried about maintenance. Yeah, that's fair. But if someone's like, "Hey, I have a jacuzzi," you're like, "Oh yeah, let's hop
I'm
in."
there. I'll bring a bathing suit. And
Yeah,
I don't
heck
like
yeah.
I don't like walking around with my shirt off in a pool, but I make exceptions for jacuzzis.
Jacuzzi is that's a real treat.
And then same verse you already referenced, being made to settle down. I like a nice settle down.
I'm inclined to agree with that as well. That's a great example. That's a young mentality.
Oh,
That is a
22-year-old
young person.
lyric.
I won't settle down is a very childlike thing to do. Then you like hit around 30 and you are very excited at the idea of calming down a little bit.
In the same vein, the next thing he calls out is being laid back. Again, love it.
Yeah, no, being laid back is underrated.
I'll tell you, we're in the middle of an 11 episode recording streak right now. The first thing I'm doing when I'm done is sitting in a recliner and kicking that thing.
Laying back.
Yes. The smell of incense.
Oh, this is an interesting one because I know what he's getting at here.
Yeah.
This is another thing I will say I have come to, and I think this might be opposite. I've come to appreciate that stuff more as I've gotten
love
older.
incense. And I'm coming from like the never smoked weed in my life, but
Yeah.
like I love, you can get like those strawberry or like when
Yeah.
you can get those fruit scented incense. Ooh.
When
yeah.
I was younger, I associated incense with a certain subculture that I did not identify with, so it was not a thing for me. But now, just as a product you can have, yeah, like what's wrong with that? It's nice.
Also, I want to, while we're doing this, I just want to call out that for whatever reason, I know it's not a derogatory word, but every time he said cosmic cowboy, it just felt like it was a very mean thing to say about somebody.
He in a clearly mean way, he refers to people as cosmic cowboys and space cadets, which is so like cosmic cowboy. I have never heard anyone say
But
about
Space
anyone.
Cadets has come back in a very awful kind of way.
It kind of has. I was gonna say like that is a thing. Like I've heard that in my life as a derogatory term for a person. A cosmic cowboy. I'm assuming. I don't want to
I
go
feel
too
it's
far off your
over
game
hippie.
here, but it's
Yeah.
it's and he's LA, right? So this is like an LA hippie. That's what he's really like. People who are so, I guess, what he considers upper class, that they have gotten into this hippie, organic, wholesome lifestyle, and he's calling them cosmic cowboys. I don't know. It's again, some of these references, I guess, just do not translate. But
Don't translate.
I mean,
but
if it's not that offensive, I love the term cosmic cowboy. Can we start referring to people as cosmic cowboys again?
we're
'Cause
gonna have to
that's
do research on
amazing.
it. Let us, listeners, sound off. Let us know if you find that
Man.
to be an offensive term. Because if
I was
not,
like-
I say we bring it back.
Yeah, like we're going out to dinner with Dave. He's like a bit of a cosmic cowboy, but he's all right.
All right.
that's
So
great.
back to the things he hates. Jogging.
I don't like jogging. I'm with him on that.
I enjoy a nice walk, but I am not.
I'll take a walk. I'll walk really far, but 2 minutes
Yeah.
of jogging and I'm angry.
Joni Mitchell 8 tracks.
Yeah, he's way off on this. It's weird to me that he would be. Well, okay, so we're gonna factor in 8 tracks. Then I guess I'm not. I don't have an 8-track player, but yeah, to take a dig at Joni Mitchell is a weird thing. Again, later Al cannot fathom him doing something like that.
I have become, I would say, in the last 15 years, so a little bit more than half my life,
Yeah.
I have taken a real turn on my feelings of singer-songwriters. Obviously, junior high and high school punk rocker, couldn't stand them.
There's no 17-year-old in the 2000s who is going to identify with Joni Mitchell like really intensely. I don't think.
But But 36-year-old Matt Kelly, you will find me driving around with some Joni Mitchell, some James Taylor, some
great
Jim
stuff.
Croce, some Cat Stevens, or
and
my
the other-
biggest one right now, Carole King. I've been
Carole
pumping Tapestry like crazy.
It's incredible.
This week.
And I was going to say, it's funny because obviously we know as we go down the line, Al straight style parodies people like this. He doesn't do Joni Mitchell per se, but he does. James Taylor absolutely pops up.
He 100% almost does a beat for beat parody of a Harry Chaplin song.
Yeah.
When I heard the original song, I was like, oh my God, I suddenly know what this Weird Al style parody is. Which is always fun.
Oh yeah, I love doing that.
Anything organic. I enjoyed organic milk for a pretty decent chunk of time, actually.
This is a great dated reference because there was a point where that really seemed like something to make fun of, and it's just so not anymore.
Nope.
That seemed really hoity-toity, and now the idea of buying something organic is so commonplace that the idea of being mad at it is kind
hilarious.
Hilarious.
I'm sure I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but Perrier,
I think.
Perrier. Okay.
Perrier.
Perrier.
Yeah, sparkling water. Again,
I
fine.
hate sparkling water.
You don't like sparkling water?
I do not. So I cut out soda entirely out of my life about 4 years ago, and everyone was like, "Oh, try seltzer water, sparkling." And it's like, no, I'd rather just like to me, it seems like it's worthless. Like if I was going to drink that, I would just want soda.
You just want soda, yeah. Perrier is fine. I mean, I'm more of a Topo Chico guy.
There you go.
If we're honest,
man,
or
he'd be writing this song about
or
you.
I love a Spindrift seltzers. Ooh, those are good. I'm
I think 22-year-old Weird Al would hate both of us right now.
Probably. No, yeah, I'm not. These are not less fancy.
Sushi bars.
Yeah, I love sushi. Another classic. Like in the 80s, the idea of sushi was like, it's such a funny thing, right? Sushi, just the word sushi was like a punchline.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and now that is like, who has not had sushi at least at some point in their life?
You mentioned the vegetarian scene. Obviously, he's flipped on this. I don't mind the vegetarian scene, but I'm not a vegetarian. But
I'm not a vegetarian. My wife is vegan, so we eat vegan and vegetarian often at home, and I have come to really enjoy it. So I'm definitely in favor of vegetarian stuff. I'm the sort of meat eater who now will still often opt for the Impossible Burger or the Beyond Burger.
If the Impossible Burger is on the menu, I will take it every single time.
Every time.
Beyond Burger, kind of different, because the Beyond Burger I think is good. But the Impossible Burger, you could serve me the Impossible Burger and not tell me that it's not a normal burger, and I would not be able to tell.
Totally buy it.
Beyond Burger is a very specifically different taste.
Yeah,
that I don't
fair.
mind. I just have to be in the mood to have.
I
it.
like them both for different reasons, but you're right.
Designer jeans. I'm still kind of against it. Outrageous
yeah, I don't
how
like
much
designer
they
jeans.
cost.
I'm not very into clothing, so I'm with him on that. Don't care about designer jeans.
Good old fashioned Goodwill does it for me.
Yep.
This is probably the most confusing one for me, because he's already complained about the jacuzzi, but then he's also complaining about the redwood hot tub. Like, Al does not like heated water.
No,
and I
he
don't
doesn't
understand
like
it.
swimming, fun, just outdoor activity. Yeah, it's I don't know why. It's like something terrible happened to him in a hot tub at some point, and he's just really mad.
Bean sprouts in Japan.
I've never been to Japan, so I don't know if the bean sprouts are different in Japan. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to eat like a fistful of bean sprouts. That's not going to be my go-to. But if I'm having a salad and there's bean sprouts, yeah, sure, that's fine. I can handle that.
I'm going to assume, because he's saying bean sprouts in Japan, I'm going to say that I agree with him on this dislike, because I think of when I have pad thai, I feel like the bean sprouts really get in the way of what I'm trying to do with the pad thai, and I tend to ask for it to not have the bean sprouts in there, because I like spaghetti, so I like to be able to like twirl it, and that having that solid bean sprout really cuts off the twirl every time.
Interesting.
Yeah. Look, when it comes to food, I'm weird.
Well, we're going to have a lot to talk about throughout Al's catalog then.
Oh, yeah,
and your
100%.
food problems.
I think you and I will both agree that we also hate this. Needing to prove that I'm cool. I'm cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't need to prove that to no one. What's your sign?
Yeah, I'm not into astrology. I like the fact, again, in terms of his phrasing, I'll break your arm if you ask me what's my sign. Like, that's aggressive, Al. Wow.
There's a girl that I follow on TikTok who does a series called Why Are You Single, where she just reads the Tinder profiles of the most aggressive about me things that she finds when she's on dating sites.
Oh my God, I'm
And
cringing
I feel like the line, I will break your arm if you ask me what's your sign, is so close to some of the stuff she reads on these people.
I don't doubt it. I just, it's all through the lens of like knowing all these Al lyrics, but that's really, really forward.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Here's where I'm gonna the next two strong disagrees from me on Al about the hatred of this. Seeing a Shrink.
Yeah.
And Psychosis.
Yeah. Again, so interesting. And I can only assume, Al, he's going back out on another Vanity tour, and he promised that he's going to do more originals that didn't get covered on the first one. So maybe this one will make an appearance, because again, just musically, I love it so much.
Maybe
but
he'll
I can
change
really,
some of the words.
Yeah, maybe he'll change some of the words and do an updated version of it. Because that's the idea. Mocking mental health care is really not cool anymore.
And then the last one was Be Casual, and I love to be casual.
Yeah, Be Casual. It's there. A lot of these things seem like they're at odds a little bit too. He doesn't like being casual, but also doesn't like the
Designer
fancy
jeans.
things. Yeah, I don't know. I like some of it does not totally track to me as a single. But again, like you said, this is a song where he's just mad at everything.
Yeah.
So if you're mad at everything, some things just don't make sense to be mad at together.
Very in keeping with really the theme of the whole album to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is your song. This is the one that you have ranked number one for this album. So is there anything else you want to talk about that you love about this?
Yeah. I mean, musically, this song has so many great little like twists and turns and riffs and stops, and it changes a lot as the like verse repeats. There's like these walking parts. Like from a musical perspective, it's fascinating. It's really, really well written. I love I don't know if it's like the chorus or a pre-chorus. It also has an odd form, which is something I'm really into as a song, where it's like, I'm hearing it, I'm like, is this the chorus or is this a pre-chorus? Is this like a post-chorus section?
Yeah.
It's all really catchy, so it doesn't matter, but it doesn't really follow a song structure that feels familiar. But I was going to say I'm going to call it a pre-chorus. The first run of the I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead's, it's the first time in Al's catalog where you hear something that recurs a lot, which is Steve J, the bass player, doing his really low backup vocal.
Yes.
I'll be mellow when I'm dead. I'll be mellow when I'm dead. Like that comes back many, many times, and this is the first example of it, and it's great. It's just one of those tricks he goes back to a lot that I adore, and this is the first instance of it, I think, that we hear. Yeah, it's just, man, this is just such a fun, and I'm showing a lot of my influences and some of my favorite things because I'm just a sucker for a super catchy melody and a fun, fast-paced sort of like power pop type song. And this also has some like sort of electronic. There's like, I can hear a little bit of like Devo post-punk energy in this song. Predates a lot of this stuff, but there's like a lot of the They Might Be Giants hookiness in this. Like he's touching on a lot of references that I'm really, really into. And yeah, I mean, for me, this is, I'm just going to say it now. In the world of Al originals, this is a high ranking song.
I was going to say, I think you and I both have this. Your I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead is the Checks in the Mail, where it's like the Checks in the Mail. I wouldn't be shocked if that ends up in my top 20 by the end of this podcast. Yeah. Like I have such a love of the like I will just put that song on as even just background music.
And I'll say right now, this might even be a top 10 for me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, this is big.
There we go.
This is big.
This is all right. Well, so you're ranking this at number one.
Number one of the originals on this record, no question.
And I put it at a number two.
There you go.
It's. I mean, I would put this very close with Happy Birthday to me too. I think that really Happy Birthday, I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead, and Checks in the Mail, all really fantastic songs. The next song, I don't think we'll have too much of a contention with messing up my top three right there. But I think that it is a fascinating story from what I've researched. So I am excited for us to dive a little bit more into the story of next week's song.
Me too. Yeah, it's another, God, so many interesting tracks from this particular record.
The thing that I'm learning as we're recording these episodes is that, like, these are shorter episodes because, A, it's just the two of us. I think having a guest every once in a while that can also bring in their Al history and stuff like that will also make the episodes longer. But there's also just they're just also so strange.
Yeah.
This is a strange record.
It is. It's a very, very strange record. And it's like the jump in, I don't want to say the jump in overall quality because that makes it seem like this record is low quality, which I do not feel. But the overall approach change when we get to the beginning of In 3D is so night and day from this that, this record really does stand alone in his catalog. From In 3D on, Al feels like, and again, it's interesting because it's not a dig, but there's fewer curveballs of this level.
Yes.
On those later records.
As I'm looking at, I wanted to remind myself a little bit, so I took a peek at the track list for In 3D because I remember I would say 90% of the songs that are on it, but maybe not the exact track listing of them. But yeah, there's there are definitely songs on here that I don't think are nearly as good as Checks in the Mail and I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead. Mm-hmm. But there's also nothing where I'm as like floored by the strangeness of it all. Yeah. As I am with some of the songs we've discussed so far.
Totally.
All right. Well, until next week, we'll be back.
All right.
Stay weird.
Hey, do you have an idea for a podcast but don't know where to start? Or do you have an already existing podcast that you want to take to the next level? Well, check out WeKnowPodcasting.com. From concept development to theme music to editing to logos, WeKnowPodcasting.com is a one-stop shop for all things pod. Don't hesitate to hit us up. We're very nice.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.